Hello everyone, this is Sir Eric with another gameplay explained. This is for Neverness to Everness, or NTE for short. And I'm going to try to kind of go and explain quickly, high level, what the game is. First, I would like to ask everybody to like and subscribe. It helps the channel out. So what is NTE? Acronyms. It's basically an open world action RPG developed by Hotta Studios, but it's mostly a free-to-play kind of gacha where you select different heroes. You get all these anime-style characters, and yes, you can skip cutscenes, which again I didn't do for this, but there's different characters you will meet, different setup, and again, I'm not going to explain the story here because first of all, I don't understand it, and second of all, I'm basically trying to play this to kind of explain the gameplay. So basically, third-person action game, as you see here. I can run around, I can jump, and I can attack. And you can see the button layout at the bottom of the screen. I played this on a PlayStation 5, just for everybody's awareness. And basically, you press square for attack, you press the triangle to activate this little nice special effect. It's on a cooldown. You can press X to jump and run around, and you're basically running around. You're kind of a very simplistic Devil May Cry kind of action RPG thing, and you're running around killing these different ads or enemies that you see on the screen with the characters that you have, and activating your special abilities to basically damage them until they drop, right? And again, there's other characters that you will see here. For example, this is Zero, the main character that you basically get at the beginning of the game. And I'm just showing kind of like the character layout here, and I'll show some of the specifics at a very high level, simplistic way of what it means to manage the characters. But here you go, I'm running around the open world. Here we meet Mint, which is kind of like the main character that's in the logo, at least you saw at the beginning of the video, and the character you'll see in some of the advertisement for it. He's actually quite funny, so there's like some funny quips here and there. And for example, here I'm going to show like a clip of the game so you guys can see it.
Let me show you my secret move. Super Duper Ultra 360. Roll it, relax.
Alright, so moving along, as I explained, you're basically running around, activating your special abilities and your attacks. You're going to be defeating these regular enemies, dodging, activating different abilities, particularly also with your different characters. So you can switch, you can activate different abilities, etc, etc. And again, I'm trying not to explain it too much at a high level, otherwise there's too many terms and weird things. But another thing you'll notice is there's going to be things like bosses. And once they have like big health bars, you're gonna have things like this break system, which basically means when you drop their stamina, if you will, for lack of another term, and they basically get things. And they got some very cool cinematic cutscenes. By the way, the boss fights are pretty fun in this game. They're sort of like interesting. Sometimes it's weird how they're hitting you, but for the most part, it looks flashy, it looks cool, it plays decent enough. So what else? Basically, it's also an open world game, as I mentioned. So what part of the open world thing is obviously you have like these little fast travel points, and basically just Doctor Who phone booths, if you will. I don't even know if these things exist in the US, but they might exist elsewhere. So you activate them, you have a checkpoint for fast travel, and you can also move around different things. So I'm kind of showing just basically as you're moving around, there's different NPCs or characters or people on the streets, and you can run around, you can climb, kind of like Legend of Zelda and the Breath of the Wild, and you can run around, you have a little bit of stamina, etc, etc, and you can run around the map finding different items like birds that'll give you points or anything else, or like little orbs to give you, etc, etc. And you can run around with your different characters. For example, this character here, she runs around in a jellyfish, and she basically walks around and swinging her musical instruments, and so whatever it is that she's doing. Do note that, for example, here I am trying out this character, and I'm doing attacks in the middle of the street. If you hit pedestrians, for example, you can also get what they call a warrant level or value, which is basically a wanted level. Think of it like Grand Theft Auto. So you kind of want to reduce that or make sure that you don't attack civilians. It's just FYI. So it's an open world with some like social mechanics. There's also vehicles. You can run around. You can summon your own little scooter there, or you can requisition vehicles, as you see here. And here I am, and you can request a reason for the requisition. You can read that and pause it if you want. Again, I'm just showing the basics of it. And obviously it'll make it easier to travel around the world. You have your little markers on the ground that'll show you where to drive to go to the next objective, etc., etc. Another thing is, for example, I wanted to show this. You can actually drive in first person if you are interested in that. Just FYI. Another thing, obviously, you have a map with all these little icons. If you've ever played an open world game, you know it's basically full of icons on the screen, and you'll figure out what those are in terms of different activities, things to find. For example, here I am floating. You can do other things around. I'm landing on this bird, which basically gives me something like an oracle stone, and you're gonna be collecting these different items that'll allow you to do different things. And back to the combat, but I didn't want to go too long without showing the combat. So this is more a little bit later in the game, a couple hours in, or an hour or two. Using different characters, and you're gonna see basically these basic move set. The combat is very bare bones and very basic. There's only one real main action button, which is basically the square for attacking, and then you have your ability that's on the triangle. Other than that, you have your R2, which activates kind of like a move like you just saw there, and you can switch characters like you saw me mid combo to activate flashy carry on the combo. And you basically, otherwise you're gonna be running around a map. And by the way, I activated that by mistake, but it looked cool enough, so I left it there. You're gonna be running around, following the objectives, etc., etc. But let me actually show basically how the gacha elements of it is. So obviously you have a little phone here. You press star, you go to your fair, and this is how you basically get characters, right? You have this dice, and you have to go to this board called a strange board, or whatever it is. And you get to see the different boards and the different characters that you can unlock by playing the gacha, the loot box, if you will, where you will have different characters. And for example, here I got this character here, Daffo, or whatever her name is. And there's different characters that you'll be able to unlock. And you can go over here. Obviously, you have your dailies for any sort of this free-to-play games. You're gonna have your daily rewards where it's honestly dead by 1,000 items. And names where I got an orb, I got a prism, I got a stone. I don't know what these things are. So if you want to invest in these things, I guess it's there for you. For the most part, this is how it works for the getting random characters or things. You basically have this board. You have a dice. You can roll one at a time, or you can roll 10 in a row, like you've seen other things. And it basically runs around and it unlocks some items for you. Or in this case, a character, for example. This is a ranked character. And this is that jellyfish lady that you saw there. And I basically unlocking her. And for example, here, I basically rolled and I was able to get an S character. And that is this twin-bladed lady. She's actually one of my favorite characters in terms of like combat style. She's actually pretty fast, pretty good. Obviously, there's the game is brand new-ish. Been out for a couple of weeks now. There's like a special thing where if you play a couple of times, you also get a free S character. In this case, I selected this lady that's also one of the main characters that is shown for the material. Her name is Faria. But basically, you can select particularly a character, S character here or there. So feel free to try it out. You can also level them up with items again. And this is standard free-to-play games, etc., where you get to select your different characters. You can level up their gear. You can level up their level itself so they can have more HP, more attack inherent by them, etc., And you can select your party members, right? Of course. So first of all, you have here your different formation. And I can go in here into the different characters that I have. And I can select them. I can level them up. And there's combos that you can do between different elements that you can see at the bottom right on the screen. And here's some basic gameplay where sometimes here's me running around empty offices, walking towards the next objective. So I kind of wanted to show raw. This is kind of what you're going to be doing part of the time. You're going to be walking. finding to the next objective, getting into the next room, and finding enemies, etc, etc, etc. But again, I wanted to show this particularly also. The game's very pretty. And the game's gorgeous. Like, for example, this is at the very beginning of the game, and I'm like, oh, this is an excellent, interesting level design, let's say, if you will. But yeah, it has some things. You're going to be running around the open world. Enemies will show up in the open world as well. They're not just in random missions, but for the most part, you're basically running around, doing some of the main missions, doing side quests. And there's all kinds of things, like there's gelato shops, there's different things that you can buy, etc, etc. And one of the main highlights, as I mentioned already, is the boss fight. For example, here is one of the boss fights that you will find early on in the game. And this like this weird camera boss thing. But I thought it was kind of cool, very interesting. So I actually captured some of the footage. So for the most part, I'm just gonna show the footage for like a minute or two, and then I'll come back and wrap up the video.
Let me take over. Let's finish this.
Alright, so that was just a quick look at some of the combat gameplay. For the most part, that is it for this NTE gameplay explained video. Thanks everybody for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It helps the channel out. And as always, have a good one, everybody. This is Eric, signing out.